Sierra Waldschmidt and Daniel Phillips. Jacob Lopez will play big minutes, but will start the game for Brooks on the bench. We are set to go. Matt Schneider as our lead referee for this semifinal, and he will handle the opening tip. The Hawks are in the gray. Meanwhile, the Bullsharks are in the navy blue. Great spirit in the building as semifinal number 1 is underway. Opening tip controlled by the Bullsharks. That is Ashton Knowles, the lone senior on this Brooks team. Ryan into the middle, and the opening field goal attempt goes wanting. Daniel Phillips put up the shot. We see the Hawks in transition. Cameron Davis got to the baseline, had a good look at it from short range. Offensive rebound pulled down by Zaylin Marshall. Prodded away from her, but it'll stay on this end with the Hawks. Feeling out process for these two teams, Max. They did not play at all this year.
Hold the reset, hold it. You hold it, you hold it.
First meeting, of course, in this tournament. Pass down floor off the shoulder of Kai Ryan, and the Bullsharks turn it over in transition.
Yeah, it's a solid play to make. At sometimes, but those can be pretty risky. Granted, if you don't know where the pass is fully headed. So unfortunately, it went off the shoulder, but granted, it was a low risk. Going for those is completely fine.
Noah Gorecki, head of the key. Parekis, short corner will fall. Parekis opens the scoring for the top seed.
Yeah, nice move. He got free on the left baseline and held the follow through nicely.
A number of the players in this game just competed in our boys showcase game, which took place on this floor. You've been staying tuned to our live cast. You were able to witness some of that. Both sides and out for Kai Ryan. Gorecki disrupted. Second opportunity not there for Parekis. Fallen player Cameron Davis, although he springs back upright in a matter of a second or two, but enough of a stoppage to lead to the whistle. Man, we've had some drama throughout the Henrico Sports and Event Center already. Earlier today, particularly in the prep division, had a buzzer beater. We'll, of course, be bringing you all the championship games tomorrow as the Bullsharks on the board with a bucket from Matthew Alvarez.
Yeah, it's a good move. He just gets free open on the back door, and it's all tied up.
More than 2 minutes gone by in this opening quarter. Light scoring affair thus far. One and done possession for the Hawks. Rebound secured by Zaylin Marshall. Excuse me, Kai Ryan. This is Ryan. And an offensive foul. It's going to be assessed to Ashton Knowles. First foul on Knowles, first foul on either side. As you hear just enormous roars going up from behind us. That's in one of our prep division semifinals. And as I was mentioning, we'll have that championship game for you tomorrow morning.
You would think that'd be the Super Bowl going.
Entire court is ringed about 5 deep with fans. Out ahead of the pack is Alvarez. Tumbles away, no good. Pressure turnover, and the finish from Ryan. So the Bullsharks in front for the first time in the opening quarter.
Yeah, from defense to offense, they never give up after the play, and they get rewarded for it. They get the swipe, and luckily Ryan was trailing, and he was ready for it. Gets the freebie.
Completely unforced turnover, unfortunately, off the hands of Noah Gorecki, and that'll lead to an early timeout from Coach Curtis Lease and the Hawks, and we'll keep it here during the timeout as you look at that turnover and ensuing bucket for Kai Ryan. Let's meet these two programs. Mentioned the Synergy Hawks hail from New Lenox, Illinois. That's a southwest suburb of the city of Chicago. And they have been on the scene for a while. I mentioned their victories over the Fury and the Roland Hornets. That LWSRA, that stands for Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association. And they are led by head coach Curtis Lease, although they have a large coaching staff, all seated just to our right on the Hawks bench. Meanwhile, the Brooks Bullsharks out of Jacksonville, Florida, led by head coach Lucas Davidson, playing out of the Brooks Rehabilitation Center and part of the Brooks Pediatric Recreation Program. Jacksonville, Florida is where they call home. Nice design on the inbound play. Unable to send it to the bottom was Alvarez. See what the adjustments are out of the timeout for the Hawks. Quick shot from Gorecki. Knowles controls.
Yeah, Gorecki's shot looked a little bit forced, like he was rushing into it, and just went up for it quickly.
One shot, subs, come on in.
But maybe it's because he wanted to get the look down the middle of the floor. In wheelchair basketball, you really want to get as central as you possibly can.
That chair spin from Knowles was devastating as he changed direction and ultimately got not one but two opportunities, the second one in for Phillips.
Yeah, and he was even proclaiming he got fouled on the second one. You can see him say, "and one."
Gotta engage, Noah.
6-0 run for the Bullsharks. Bench for the Hawks telling Gorecki, you got to engage. Instead, he gives it off to Davis. Sliding in, unable to finish. Zaylen Marshall poked away from behind, and Knowles, realizing he didn't have an angle on Gorecki, will pull it back out and wait for help. Two-man dive play, and it is quite a run now for the Bullsharks. 8-0 on the basket for Ryan.
Yeah, and that two-man game between Knowles and Ryan has been devastating for everybody they have faced.
Just watching Knowles and his chair skills, again, the only senior. I was enjoying watching him in the three-point contest yesterday. He made one in the opening round and then wheeled over to some friends and said, I'm never shooting another three again. Was talking to the coaching staff for Brooks today, and they said, yep, that's him. He's got one-liners for everything. We'll get a foul and some foul shots here. Fouls against Matthew Alvarez.
I think it'd be pretty cool if we see him eventually attempt one in game, because you never know when you may need it. But he's a great kid, and I think it's awesome that he's been the focal point of the offense on his team. He's the tallest on the chair when you look at the rest of their team, but he's their point guard. He's making all the plays necessary to get the team moving and flowing.
Indeed he is. Zaylen Marshall, meanwhile, gets the roll and one of two from the foul line. So that will interrupt that 8-0 run for Brooks. 6 minutes gone by now in this opening quarter. Get a "Let's Go Bullsharks" chant from the spectators at center court. Shot wouldn't fall for Knowles. Question of the weekend, can anyone dethrone the Lakeshore Lakers? RHI Racers will be the first to try in the semifinal round following this ball game. Parekis. Rebound to Alvarez.
And I spoke to Pee-wee, who didn't play during game one, but played during game two, as there's the nice right-handed layup by Knowles. I told him, hey, I heard you're a really good player. And he said, yeah, I'm all right. But then I asked him, what about college offers? Because this is your last year. And he said, yeah, I got quite a few.
Yeah, and you see the college coaches all over these national championships. Saw some from Wisconsin Whitewater, which is a storied program. Knowles once again ahead of the pack, and that's not one he misses often.
No, yeah, exactly. He got one for free on the last possession. But you could see him slowing down and turning a little bit, probably trying to get the proper angle. And because he had a defender in front of him, he may have mistimed it a little bit.
Here's Davis, leading scorer in lieu of Drew Butel. Scoreless thus far in the opening quarter.
4, 3.
Short shot clock. Got the shot up, but it didn't catch iron, and that'll be a shot clock violation. And this Hawks offense continues to struggle to find a rhythm, Max. What are you seeing from Brooks that is preventing them to get into their sets?
Well, I'm seeing them that they're managing to shut down the middle of the floor just past the center of the foul line. And when they do, they swarm that paint. They're making sure you're not getting any looks when you're in the middle. They're forcing them to take shots from the wing.
Quick shot at an angle. Off the mark from Phillips.
Seal game, seal game.
Gorecki gets the seal from Parekas. Couldn't complete the play. And I'll tell you, there have not been many second chances on the glass offensively for the Hawks.
That's 10. Nope.
And a turnover.
Go game.
Waldschmidt never saw the ball coming, and it leads to an easy one on the other end. First bucket of the game for Gabriel Hamad.
First player off the bench with an instant impact.
And immediately a timeout taken by Lucas Davidson. Doesn't want momentum to change early in this game. Brooks has controlled it for the most part. Right back to the NWBA National Championship. Brooks Bullsharks with a 10-5 lead on the Hawks. Last basket belongs to the top seed, however. And as you take another look back at that breakaway opportunity that would not fall. Knowles exits the post. Re-enters the post and scores.
Nice patience there by Knowles, despite having Gorecki contesting him. He just had a little bit of a taller player, and he got in that position where he liked, just under the low post.
Knowles clearly has a great idea of spacing on the floor and how to acquire spacing. Crowded in the backcourt here. Had a flyer, found the flyer, who finds the bottom, Kai Ryan.
Yeah, the first thing you'll notice about Ryan is his speed. And he really just finds a way to use that speed better than most players.
It was a great transition press breaker from the Bullsharks. Out of the timeout, they've scored 4 consecutively. Final 20-plus seconds, side of the backboard for Lewis. Again in transition, it's Ryan. Spin around. 7 seconds for the Hawks to try to salvage a basket here in the opening quarter. Desperation half-court heave, good if it goes, and it will not fall for Cameron Davis. So an impressive opening quarter ends with a 9-point advantage for the Bullsharks. First semifinal off and rolling from the NWA National Championship.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball. guys are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Back to action in the second quarter. Performax powering our live cast throughout the course of these national championships. Quick shot from Davis. Love that as he cashes it off the window. And very important for the Hawks to get their leading scorer, Davis, going.
Yeah, Cameron Davis has normally been the Robin to Butel's Batman, and he's going to be crucial to take over that scoring load.
Not there for Phillips for the Bullsharks, and the Hawks trying to get a run mounted here. Zaylen Marshall. And to add some pace to this half-court offense. Same shot for Davis, and same result.
Taking a full quarter to wake up, Davis calling bank twice in a row from the same area. Now I'm excited to see how the Bullsharks are going to try and combat that.
Saw Davis kind of wandering on the left side in the half court in the opening quarter. That wrenched away from Alvarez, but it'll stay with the Bullsharks. As I said, not a lot of flow or rhythm to the Hawks offense in the opening quarter, but the first two possessions, just ISO plays for Cameron Davis, and that's sometimes what you need to do, Max, when you're struggling, is just go to your best player.
Yeah, when you have plays that haven't been working that the defense can prepare for, you got to give them something they won't expect.
And that's precisely what the Bullsharks do. Not that that was unexpected, but it was their best player, Ashton Knowles.
Yeah, Ashton Knowles has been Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent when you need him. This is, of course, his last year. Why not see Superman put on his cape one more time?
6 points already for Knowles. Davis has 4 in the opening minute of this quarter. Trying to get the pick and roll going, wasn't there, and Knowles reaches up in a crowd, pulls it in, and there goes Ryan off to the races, and Ryan, that flyer, continues to showcase that speed, and Knowles kind of playing quarterback back in the backcourt.
Yeah, Kai Ryan, he's one of those players that you do not want to see in a one-on-one coverage. He'll break you down very fast, and that will force collapses on the defense.
There's another turnover, trying to get the ball into the lane. No flyer this time. And Ryan will involve Knowles. What beautiful spacing and vision as Ryan just splits through like a breeze through the trees, and Knowles another assist.
Yeah, you can see they were setting up the back picks around the half-court line. It was first Ryan to Knowles. Knowles waited, and eventually that gave Ryan enough space to go through the middle because there's nobody helping in the middle. They got to worry about the weak side. Ryan, using his speed to an advantage, as we have mentioned, glides to the rim for his 10th point of the game.
A couple of subs that were on the floor for the Hawks will come back off. Sage Johnson and Gabriel Hamad were both out there, but now Hudick returns along with Parekas. This is Davis, same shot that he knocked down twice. And here we go again, off to the races. Kai Ryan. And it is an 8-0 run for the Bullsharks. Knowles applauding behind the play, and his beautiful down-court feed once again. Hawks have to find an answer for that play.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to stop transition because those are the easy looks that the Bullsharks have been getting.
Nice feed from Davis to Gorecki. Didn't finish, but an offensive rebound, which has been a rarity. Not a rebound because it was an air ball, but nonetheless, possession continued, and Davis scores his 6th point of the second quarter.
Yeah, Davis coming alive when the Hawks need to. But they really need to worry about the other side of the ball. Their defense has had a few troubles both in transition and in the half court.
Ryan appeared to be in a little trouble, but not for long, and Alvarez rides free to the left block and scores. And a timeout is taken by the Synergy Hawks. Top seed in trouble in the second quarter. 13-point lead, largest of the ball game for the Bullsharks.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
John Laser, Max Cates back with you. Opening half of our first semifinal, and the 4th-seeded Brooks Bullsharks on top of the top-seeded LWSRA Synergy Hawks, 24-11. They've expanded what was a 9-point lead after the opening quarter to 13, largest of the ball game.
Yeah,
Davis
and it's
at Gorecki, but Gorecki's been having some trouble finishing. Here's the breakout once again from the Bullsharks. This pace has really bothered the Hawks thus far. This time it's Knowles short on that attempt. And again, the Hawks without arguably the top player in the country, Drew Butel. However, those absences as Davis continues a dynamite second quarter. He's got 8 points in the quarter.
we've just almost played halfway through the second. He can really go on a run for the rest of these 5 minutes.
Alvarez leaves it behind for Kai Ryan. Ryan drops it back off for Alvarez, who drops it to the bottom.
That's just beautiful basketball. The pick and the roll. The baseline eventually got open after they forced a mismatch, and that's an easy 2.
He's talking to the staff of the Bullsharks prior to the ball game. We'll get an offensive foul here. It's going to go against Cameron Davis, who's been exceptional in this quarter in particular. But that Bullsharks staff was just kind of beaming with pride at where this team is. They said, we started with just a prep team back in 2018. Now we've got a varsity team and a prep team. Became NWBA recognized in 2019, and she said all these kids have been playing together since then, and you can definitely sense that chemistry. Now we'll get a foul on Ashton Knowles for the Bullsharks. Light whistle fair thus far. It's on Buddy Barnes. The Buddy Barnes. Great guy. Of course, just passionate, as passionate can be about wheelchair basketball, adaptive inclusion in general. Back to Davis, trying to use that glass again from the left side. Couldn't get it to go.
Yeah, and you can see they're overloading that side wherever he's at. He tried to run with a pick and roll, but just couldn't get it done.
Oh, sleight of hand, but it wouldn't fall for Jacob Lopez in the game for the first time. Offensive rebound, however, for the Bullsharks.
He's got 4.
Coach Curtis Lease up off his chair and into a defensive crouch to try to will his team to a stop. Will not work. Too much Kai Ryan.
Yeah, Kai Ryan is feeling it right now. Him alone has outscored the entire Hawks team. He has 14 while they have 13.
And As you mentioned, 22 in the opening round, and right now it's kind of Ryan and Knowles with some big help from Alvarez and Phillips. It's just been a much more balanced attack offensively for the Bullsharks.
And the source of that is that they're willing to go downhill. Going downhill has been their main reason for why they've been at this point, running in rolling in transition, and they are not stopping that. They're letting them go downhill and initiate that first move towards the basket, and that forces the rest of the defense to scramble.
Phillips did not connect there, but he was fouled on the forearm by Yuri Hudik. So Daniel Phillips at the foul line. Southpaw eyes up the first of two. 15-point lead, the largest of the game for the Bullsharks. It'll stay at 15. Gorecki struggles at the rim, continue. And the Bullsharks contingent of fans erupts. They've got those spirit sticks over there. They've added some pom-poms to the top of them. Gotta love that.
Yeah, you gotta love that. They're very eye-catching, to say the least.
There's a turnover taken away from Phillips. Davis in a crowd. Exits that crowd, and one coming. Shot of positivity for this Hawks team that they needed. Came with Ashton Knowles getting a rest, and after that potential three-point play, Lucas Davidson says, "I think you're rested, son. Get on back in there."
You don't want to take any risks, do you, in the semifinal? And when you have your star player out, it's crucial that you find a way to mitigate any damage that the opposing team could cause. And you never know what the start of an and-one opportunity could run.
That's just too easy for Kai Ryan right there, and Knowles made it so with another assist.
I think we found Nikola Jokic in a wheelchair.
16 points for Kai Ryan. Meanwhile, Davis on the other side has 10 in this quarter, but just 10 for the game as well. Hawks will keep it on this end. Zaylin Marshall, haven't heard from her in a while. Have heard from Davis, and we'll hear more from him at the foul line. I believe the foul's on Kai Ryan, and indeed it is. That is his first.
Hey, you need to find some backboards. Hey, right there. Take your time. Right there.
Davis gets the second. So the lead is 12. Again, it was 9 at the quarter break. Two floor generals were the last two down the floor, in Knowles and Ryan. Additional 3 Bullsharks wait for reinforcements. And there's a bucket for Waldschmidt. And guess who made it happen? Ashton Knowles dropping dimes all over the Enrico Center.
Yeah, and I might pick one of them up at this rate. Waldschmidt, right place, right time, executed the roll to perfection, and she got the perfect look.
Davis, every look's been a perfect look for Cameron in this quarter. He's got 12 and almost single-handedly keeping the Hawks in this game. Flip the flyer. It's Knowles this time ahead of the pack. From the right side, he's got that spin down. Little smooch off the glass as well.
Ashton Knowles might get a triple-double from the end of this game.
Yeah, rebounds, assists, and points, honestly.
If there's something he's not doing, I haven't seen it yet.
Defending here, but gives off. There's a turnover and a steal for Knowles. Threw it down floor, expecting Ryan to be there first, but Parekas had made the adjustment. Final 35 seconds of this opening half. Hawks trying to end it with a little momentum, and there, Gorecki finally rides free to score.
Yeah, he has been struggling with this shot most of the game. It's good to see one go down for him.
2-on-1 break. 1-on-1 break. Phillips, that's all they needed. Transition game has just been too much thus far for the Hawks.
Yeah, they're just finding ways to control the pace throughout the full floor. The Hawks haven't been able to get back in time.
Final seconds. Davis got it up and couldn't get it to cap what was an incredible quarter personally for Cameron Davis, but as a whole for the Brooks Bullsharks, they expand a 9-point lead to 14 at the break, 36-22, the 4 seed on top of the 1 seed in our first semifinal.
Today we're at Performax here with Matt Bullock. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you were injured, how long ago, and how adaptive sports has, kind of helped you in your rehabilitation?
I got hurt lifting weights in college in Ottawa. I was doing step-ups and 315 pounds and stepping up on a box, and it just slipped one day, came down on my butt, and actually pinched my spinal cord at T11, T12. And I thought that was the end, honestly. If it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't be in the adaptive sports world. Meeting the people that not only play basketball, but do other things has led me to countless adventures around here. When I was at Mizzou, I played basketball obviously, but I needed a capstone internship to graduate. My capstone internship was out in Utah. Out there I learned how to wakeboard. I did mountain biking, rock climbing, rode cycles, in town played sled hockey, and that just kind of blew up my world in a way that was good. I just thought it was only basketball, honestly, and tennis. But once I found those things, it was love at first sight. I came back, met up with Midwest Adaptive Sports, is who I work for now.
And they're located in Kansas City.
Yeah, they're located in Kansas City. All of our teams are managed by a director. So I'm the director of basketball. We do everything we did out in Utah, except for no mountain biking. On top of mountains, it's cut trails and forests and stuff like that. But it's fun. You and I, we grew up playing sports before we were hurt or injured, and that's something that kids with disabilities who are born with it, don't have a choice. It's a need. It's definitely a need.
So we're excited to work with you and see if we can keep meeting the needs of your program as it evolves and grows over time.
Definitely. No, thank you guys so much for what you guys have done in the past and in the future too.
Performax today with the one and only Matt Scott.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for making the trip to Dallas.
This is my first trip to the Performax headquarters, so I had never actually seen what it takes for it to go from like a small couple bars to a gold medal chair. Yeah, finished product. It's been amazing and a cool experience to see a finished product and what it starts from.
Tell us a little bit about how the involvement with Performax helps you achieve your goals as an athlete.
The first wheelchair basketball chair that I've ever had was a Performax. The first time I've ever been in a sports chair was a Performax. And I think me playing in a Performax really allows me to perform at the best of my ability.
Let's talk about the U.S. Paralympic team a little bit. So you're a defending gold medalist.
That's right.
Can you talk about your journey to get that gold?
It was quite the drought that we were on. I was part of the team in 04, in 08, in 2012 that wasn't able to bring home the gold. So to finally make our way up to the top of the mountain and show the world what we're truly capable of was just, it took a lot.
So you have your professional wheelchair basketball career in Europe.
Yep.
Then obviously you have some involvement here in the U.S.
Yep.
What are your future plans for that?
Well, I want to go to Tokyo. It's no secret to anybody that I want to be a part of that team. I'm going to work my butt off and bring home another gold medal. That's the ultimate goal. We've set a standard for ourselves, a golden standard. We've proved to the world that we're the best team, and I want to be a part of it when we do it back to back.
Moments away from the start of the third quarter. It's semifinal Saturday here in Richmond, Virginia in the Henrico Sports and Events Center in the matchup between the #1 ranked team, the Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association, also known as the LWSRA Hawks, with the #4 ranked team, the Brooks Bullsharks. Alongside me is John Laser. My name is Max Cates, and John, this is not the usual we've seen from the Hawks today.
No, it's not. And again, you have to acknowledge they're not going to use it as an excuse. But when you lose one of the top players, if not the top player in the country, it changes literally everything you do as you see another easy bucket to start the half by Kai Ryan. And Cameron Davis, 13 points. I misspoke at the end of the first half there, added that free throw, trying to almost do it single-handedly offensively. And that's what their coaches, the Hawks coaches, were trying to implore Noah Gorecki and some other players. Listen, you've got to change your spacing so we can get into our actions. And didn't feel as though they were able to do that in the first half, and that's why we have this lopsided score. You know, Bullsharks have been able to execute their pick and rolls with multiple players. Meanwhile, the Hawks have not.
Ashton Knowles now getting called for his third personal foul, first team foul, 25 seconds into the third quarter.
And that's a big deal, obviously, as he is the facilitator.
Marshall misses from the baseline. Rebound corralled by Ryan.
We'll get a reach-in foul.
Now foul will be called against Dominic Parakis. His first personal, now the first team foul in the third quarter. Now speaking of fouls, it's a very big disparity between both of these teams. 6 total fouls for the Bullsharks, 2 in total for the Hawks. That's a nice jumper along the left block. Number 33, Daniel Phillips, off yet another beauty from Ashton Knowles.
Well, unofficially, I'm just going to say that Knowles has 10 assists. So if he gets to 10 points, he absolutely has 10 rebounds. So that triple-double you were talking about, that might be an inevitability rather than an improbability.
Ryan with a touchdown pass, and the right-handed layup is there from Knowles, his third one of the game.
And there's 10. So let's just call it a triple-double. And the third quarter just started.
He might have heard you.
Well, that flyer play, they got to stop it. And this is the exact opposite start to the third quarter than the Hawks needed. 6 consecutive points scored on 3 baskets, but really by the Bullsharks' offensive standards, none of them have been all that intricate. It's been one pass entry, easy shot.
Knowles dealing extra feed, and the bucket is up and in.
Same story, 2 pass entry, multiple cutters, and it's an 8-0 run to start the second half. And the Hawks kind of focusing a bit on their offensive woes there in the half with some of their star players, but the defensive woes, they just have not been able to stop this combination attack.
That's an interception by Knowles. Has a freebie all the way, and he'll bank it up and in.
Well, quite frankly, all joking aside, Knowles might have a quadruple-double before all is said and done, because that's at least his 6th steal also.
Just reading the passing lane as you would, he's taking that center floor, and any pass that's cutting through from right to left or vice versa, he knocks them down. Or he intercepts them, as that's a great bucket there by Cameron Davis, one that they desperately needed for his 15th point.
And that's that left side action. That's where everything's going to originate for this Hawks offense. I'll explain what the coaches were asking for on the next possession. But again, they've started this half just blazing hot, have the Bullsharks. 5 of 5 from the floor. Is it 6 of 6? Yes, it is now. And the Hawks are going to take a timeout, and desperately needed as this lead is swelled to 24.
Yeah, 48-24 is the score. We'll be back after a quick moment. Did you see who got the most recent bucket?
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle, but once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
7 minutes left to play in semifinal Saturday in the matchup between the Bullsharks and the Hawks. 48-24 is your score.
I can't tell you, Max, how impressed I've been with the synchronicity of this offense for the Brooks Bullsharks. Multiple ball handlers, multiple scorers, multiple threats.
Hamad couldn't get the shooter's touch. And now the Bullsharks are looking to pile it on. Knowles gets stopped on the baseline. Phillips muscles it in.
And Phillips is coming to life as he's into double digits now scoring, or already was with 12 for the game. And Knowles just continues to pile up the assists at every angle imaginable.
Davis fails to answer. Phillips the rebound. Knowles is just posting up under the basket with a mismatch. He receives it too easy.
Yeah, just a defensive matchup. You can't win by the numbers right there, but the passing from the Bullsharks has just been precision-like.
And kind of a far cry from what we've seen from the Hawks. They're running as much ISO ball as they need, trying to rely on Cameron Davis.
So again, trying to set up that pick and roll, and read again by Knowles. He's not going to earn the turnover here, but he does earn another disruption. Hawks are going to put Noah Gorecki back in the game, and what they were imploring Gorecki to do, he was been spacing too high and not being in a threatening position, which allows that defender, which is Ashton Knowles, to drop down into that pick and roll area and essentially make it unobtainable. And then out of frustration, he's creating those turnovers as well. So they're asking Gorecki to come lower to the free throw line so that he may be a scoring threat. And we're having a little bit of difficulty getting that message across.
As Gorecki checks in, he has Dominic Parekis with him, Zaylen Marshall, Noah Gorecki, and Cameron Davis, who has the ball now. And it's a 3-second violation.
You see, Gorecki did come down there, but he came too far. He's got to stay at the free throw line, not down on the block. He's essentially in the way of Davis at that point.
And that's exactly what the Bullsharks wanted. And we've seen that defense really put in work, that they can't get anything down the middle. Ashton Knowles from downtown for point number 17.
Remember what I said, I'm never shooting another three. Well, he was lying, and that one was straight up money.
He should lie more often. Marshall fails to answer. Rebound snatched by Ryan.
Well, and this one getting out of hand. This was definitely not the game that I think most were expecting, including, if I'm being honest, myself coming in here today. Let me tell you who's taken notice of this Bullsharks performance. The Lakeshore Lakers and the RHI Racers.
Knowles gets his third offensive rebound of the possession and gets the difficult angle to drop and the foul.
You see how he was working on his quadruple double there? He just added 3 more rebounds to his talent. Stuffing the box score.
Double digits in a lot of stats. As you see, he's just using that reach. He's just doing whatever he wants under the basket. Cameron Davis not happy. So Cameron Davis not only called for the shooting foul, but because he hit the ball out of frustration, Buddy Barnes now calling it an unsportsmanlike foul. So 2 consecutive fouls for Cameron Davis. That is now 3 in total this quarter for the Hawks. Knowles misses the free throw in a game where the Bullsharks have been under control over the Hawks from the opening tip.
Yeah, and you got the foul called on the continuation for Knowles, and the reason he's getting 3 free throws is a technical was added to the foul for Cameron Davis. So he called for the personal and then for an unsportsmanlike technical foul, as you mentioned, for knocking the ball away. So shot the technical free throws with nobody accompanying him at the line, and now everyone will rejoin as this one will be live on the and one.
Well, he can hit a 3, but he'll airball a free throw.
Knowles laughing at himself. That's about the only thing that has gone wrong for him thus far today.
And that says a lot. 57-24 is your score. 4 minutes and some change left in the third quarter. Winner will take on the winner between RHI and Lakeshore. Game coming up after this one. That's a good bucket by Zaylin Marshall. Curling towards the middle and knocks down the shot.
I would say sorely needed, but that would be the understatement of the century in a quarter that's just been absolutely dominated by the Brooks Bullsharks. 10-second time infraction, and if there's any chance for a Hawks comeback, they've got to start the run now, despite the fact that there's an entire quarter remaining.
And there's also a running clock as well, so they need to go double as fast as you'd hope, because once the ball goes out of bounds, clock is going to keep running, as there's a sweet shot by Marshall.
And once you get to that 31-point threshold,
Marshall will try her luck. It's the backboard, no rim. Knowles just splitting a sea of defenders down the middle. Finds Ryan towards his right, back to Knowles. Knowles rolls into a mid-range shot, gets his own rebound. Short on the second one.
Probably got fouled by Gorecki there. Officials didn't see it, but yet another possession with a second chance for Ashton Knowles.
Davis creates separation on the spin. Could knock down the mid-range.
And a mismatch down the floor, identified wonderfully by Ryan.
And there's Knowles for his 21st point of the evening in the semifinals. He wants it. He wants to make that final spot ever so desperately in his final year in high school. Sweet stroke by Zaylin Marshall. Back-to-back buckets for their number one.
Yeah, Marshall, along with Davis, that's the 1 and 1A that they've needed for the Hawks. But just look at this ball movement.
Knowles slicing and dealing with a pinpoint laser to Ryan.
It's like everyone on the field running a fly route on every play, and your DB's just spinning around trying to figure out where the quarterback's going to go. Quite frankly, it makes for some beautiful to watch basketball.
It's like you're watching a team that's fully in sync with each other. They just know what to expect before it's even happening.
Again, they've all played together for years since the inception of this program.
Offensive rebound taken by Gorecki. Cameron Davis spills onto the floor, just hops back up immediately. As you look at the replay, pinpoint pass and an easy layup for Kai Ryan.
And you can just see the frustration all over the face of Davis, understandably so. You know, it would be the equivalent of having a big 2 or a big 3 in this case, and then getting to the NBA Finals and one of them goes down with a season-ending injury without Drew Butel, and it's just a lot to ask. You know, think of the 90s era's Bulls, Jordan not there. Is Pippen going to win those titles? Probably not. And it's just a hard transition to make on short notice.
It's such a big adjustment as well, as you mentioned, because it forces you to change your strategy completely. Other than relying on the plays that you've had with your number one guy, how do you make it unpredictable knowing that the other team has film on you?
And the seeds were not affected by those absences for the U23 players, but clearly
1 second left. Knowles almost beating the buzzer in what's been a dominant performance from the Bullsharks. 61-28 your score. We'll be back with the start of the fourth quarter.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Don't engage with him. Play your game.
10 minutes left to play in Saturday semifinals in the matchup between the Brooks Bullsharks and the LWSRA Hawks. Alongside me is John Laser, as there's Cameron Davis with the bucket. It's going to be an interesting take to see how the Bullsharks could fare up in the potential finals, if they do make it, against the defending national champions or the NHI Racers.
Yeah, exactly. And either way, our second semifinal goes in that 2-3 matchup with the Racers and the Lakers. I think you're going to have a potent challenge from this fourth-seeded Bullsharks team, due in large part to the guy who just swished another one and is having himself a day here on semifinal Saturday. Ashton Knowles just sliding in. He's in his bag today. But you look at this Bullsharks team, and they do kind of what both the Racers and the Lakers do, right? They've got that dynamic point guard play, in this case from Knowles. That's Schaff for the Racers. But then they also have multiple scorers and multiple ball handlers. And that's what the Lakeshore Lakers do.
Davis fouled on the three-point attempt. Misses the first free throw. And I think that's an interesting conversation to see how this team will eventually fare up in the final, as Davis taking on a huge scoring load at 13 in the second quarter alone. He can now score his 19th point if he ends up hitting this free throw, which he doesn't.
Well, I think we're seeing Brooks peaking at the right time, too. You look, they narrowly got past the rolling Timberwolves in that opening round matchup. It's not as though it was one-sided in the quarterfinal round either yesterday. But this has just been an absolute demolition. It's been an expert game plan put together by Lucas Davidson, but then the execution and the precision passing and the finishing ability at the rim.
Jonathan Paris looking for his first minutes. Couldn't get that shot to drop. You could just hear the bench say, get it up there.
And the director of the Synergy Hawks, great guy I've had the chance to talk to a lot here today, was just saying, get it up there, big boy. And, again, we've gotten to the point where the outcome of this is no longer in doubt. So now trying to just find some moments of enjoyment here for maybe players in the program that don't get on the floor as much, like a Jonathan Paris.
Gorecki leans back on the chair, hits back iron. Ryan takes his time, knocks it down. Kai Ryan, 22 points, just as much as he had in the first game against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, really the intrigue right now stems from who's going to lead the Bullsharks in scoring. Is Ryan 22, as you mentioned, and Knowles with 23.
Tough make. Cameron Davis from the left corner. He now sits at 20.
And there's going to be absolutely nothing for Cameron Davis to hang his head about after this game. He has, again, tried to will this team to stick in this game.
10 seconds left on the shot clock. You can just look at the ball movement from the Bullsharks. They've had 3 consecutive wide open looks.
Bullsharks seeking their first national championship. This will be their first national championship game appearance.
And what a moment for the program, as you mentioned.
Yeah, they were enjoying the moment already before the semifinals. Not that they were content with where they had gotten, but you could just kind of see it on their faces. And the coaches and the administrators just kind of beaming with pride. And that comes from when you start something, which they did down at the Brooks Pediatric Rehabilitation Center in Jacksonville, and then watch it blossom and watch it become just this special thing. You got spirit sticks and parents and supporters and the talent level that you're seeing here and people finding out about your program for the first time, maybe. That's a special deal.
Yeah, for those who are watching wheelchair basketball for the first time right now, what a way to introduce yourself to the country.
That's right.
If there's ever an exhibition of basketball execution, you're going to have a front row seat for the Brooks Bullsharks. And here's the tip of the spear. Knowles in transition. Misses the layup, but the offensive rebound is there for Kai Ryan, now leading all scorers with 24.
Well, and here's the thing for the Bullsharks. They only have 6 players, and their lone reserve, Jacob Lopez, already in the game. So it's not that they're trying to run up the score. It's just they don't have a bench to empty here in this semifinal. Although I wouldn't be shocked if Coach Davidson at some point lets Knowles rest for the rest of this one.
Curtis Lees needs a quick second with his team as a timeout will be called, but will be staying on air. 4:35 left to play. It's a 67-34 game. Winner goes to the finals. And you must have been very happy with what you've seen from the Bullsharks because they've proven that they can win it all.
Yeah, they have. Like you said, they introduced themselves to the country, and it's not as though the Lakeshore and RHI staffs didn't know about the 4 seed. You know, they were one of the favorites coming into the weekend. But if they play like this, you know, they can certainly beat anybody in this tournament. There's no doubt about that. And they're going to take tremendous confidence from this performance into that championship game tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Now, something else I want viewers to take note of, I walked downstairs in my house today and my wife said, "Why are you wearing the exact same outfit you were wearing yesterday?" And I want it noted that this is a different blue shirt than I was wearing yesterday, okay?
Oh, thanks for telling. Yeah, I didn't even notice. I thought you wore the same shirt as well.
I have a particular style that I enjoy.
Looks good on you.
So do the Bullsharks, by the way. They like ball movement and transition offense.
Nice shot by Gabriel Hamad.
Yeah, like I said, moments of joy. That's what you're seeking right now. If you're the Hawks to take away from this experience, they'll have plenty of them from their previous 2 wins yesterday, too. And also their regular season, which had them anointed as the top seed.
That program has been successful for a reason. Foul will be called on Hamad as there's wheel-to-wheel contact on the shot. Daniel Phillips, I'd say, is the unsung hero of today's game.
Absolutely. He has been tremendous. And along with him, Matthew Alvarez. And Alvarez will come in and going to get an ovation here for Ashton Knowles. And absolutely, that's one of the best performances I've seen in the 2 years of calling this varsity division. And oh, by the way, Kai Ryan almost matched it.
I've never seen a wheelchair basketball player at this level so far just impact every single play. Every single moment the ball goes from to the rim to the floor, he's done everything you could want.
Well, he's your leading scorer, he's your leading facilitator, he's your best defender in terms of steals and takeaways, and he's your transition floor general. So you're absolutely right, in other words.
That resume is going to look pretty good.
Talking about college coaches and quite a few offers for Pee Wee Kemp. I imagine Mr. Knowles has his choice of campuses he can reside on too.
What a way to introduce yourself after the tournament. He could look for some plane tickets and pick his choice.
Get some NIL dollars from Performax.
Oh yeah, did I tell you this stream is sponsored by Performax?
You did, yeah.
2:25 left to play. The Bullsharks showing their worth and are looking to book their ticket to Championship Sunday and crown themselves as the best National Wheelchair Basketball Association wheelchair basketball team in the country in the varsity level.
That was some exquisite wheel work from Cameron Davis.
And
Man,
Davis
he's a
gets
heck of a
rewarded.
player.
What a player.
Individual creation right there.
He could still find a way to create a shot in a phone booth.
Yeah, he has had to. He's been so smothered at times in this game.
He's so, I'd say, smooth with his chair work.
Yeah.
He moves so fluidly.
No doubt about it. And the other thing about it, you have to remember he was shut out in the first quarter. So all the damage he has done has basically been in 3 quarters.
And there's the bucket. There he goes. It's Jacob Lopez.
Yeah, and you
As
hear
the
that
crowd loves
massive
that
cheer
one.
from the Brooks bench. That's awesome.
What a way to introduce yourself on the national stage.
Lopez very nearly had a bucket back in the first half, but it toppled off the rim. Not to be denied that time.
Foul will be called on the floor. Yuri Hudick will get called for that one, his second personal, and there's the ball movement and the bucket.
Clip that one, Jacob Lopez.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is Humpty. That was the song you were referencing, right?
I just know the quote.
Yeah, you're not old enough to remember that song.
Jay-Z, isn't it? 38-70 is the score, and that will be it. The Brooks Bullsharks dethroning the #1 seed, and they will book themselves a trip to the NWBA Finals. Final score 70-38. Ashton Knowles doing it all with 23 points and most likely a triple-double. Kai Ryan facilitating and using his blazing speed with 24 points. And the unsung #3, Daniel Phillips with 12. Cameron Davis from the second quarter onward